Welcome to another episode of the LanceScurv show. And today, or actually tonight, depending on what part of the world you're in, we have a guest that we haven't had on in a very long time. I wouldn't say guest. He's been here so much that he's got to be considered family. I'll just say this: buckle your seatbelt, get your facts straight. It's going to be very entertaining, and a few things that he might say may get under your skin. If you don't know Sarge, you'll remember him after, love him or hate him. But this is a gentleman who has a lot of experience, knows a lot of history, but he's going to make you understand the term agree to disagree. He pulls no punches. He says what he says. And one thing's for sure, you will never have to wonder how he feels about anything in particular. Welcome, Sarge. And I want you to also come on in and introduce yourself. And make sure you hold that phone close to your mouth because we want to hear every single syllable that you have to say. Welcome, brother.
Thank you for that introduction, sir. I'm more than pleased to be here on your show because you are a gentleman, you are a scholar, you are first and foremost an interlocutor. I absolutely love your political cartoons. You remind me, even though you're not exactly the same as, but it reminds me of another well-known political cartoonist, alternative underground cartoonist named Robert Crumb. I'm sure you're familiar with him.
I love him.
Yeah, well, your style actually is reminiscent of his. You are a bodybuilder, a boxer. You've got quite a curriculum vitae yourself. And, you're a fascinating character in and of your own right. And believe me, I'm honored and pleased to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, we had a short conversation earlier. And it's not going to be any one particular topic because when you pick up the newspaper or watch the news, it's never one particular topic focused on. It's a swirl and a blending and a mix of many things that are happening. And fortunately and unfortunately, the swirl and blending and mixes of what is reported in a slanted manner. And it would be hard to not slant it according to what you see and how you view the world. That being said, I'd love for you to share your background with everybody here because we have a lot more new subscribers who have never had the Sarge experience. That being said, I want us to speak about, after your introduction and your background, I want us to speak about the things that are happening today. George Floyd, the COVID-19, the economic crisis, the housing bubble, the potential food shortage, all of these different things that are staring us in the face that we didn't have to deal with really when we said Happy New Year this year. The world has definitely changed. It's changed very fast. I want you to speak on the political faction behind it, Donald Trump, all of these different things, the places that many people don't want to go. You'll go there and boldly like no man has gone before. You were Captain Kirk before Captain Kirk was Captain Kirk. They owe you money because they took everything from you. Love them or hate them, here's Brother Sarge. Give us your background and just start and don't hold back. Go for the first round knockout.
All right, well, I'll give you a quick thumbnail sketch. I was born in the middle of the 20th century, which obviously makes me a senior citizen. I am both dismayed and pleased to be one because I lived long enough to be one. I was born in Chicago, raised in Chicago when that particular city was integrating. As a young black man, a very young black man, a pre-adolescent black man, I was regularly beaten up by racist mobs who objected to me integrating into their neighborhood. I had come to a racially changing
Sarge, I don't know what happened to your phone, but you cut off, brother. We still have a connection, but we cut off. Check your phone if you hit the mute button. Matter of fact, what you do, let's hang up because we had problems a little early with the phone. So I'm going to hang up and call you. Okay, he hung up and he's going to call right back. Because I think he lives a little bit out, a little more remote. There he is. Okay, no, that's saying he's calling back or for me to call back. There he is. Good, brother. Continue on. We just had a little drop call. Just keep going.
Okay, but first you don't succeed, try again. What was I saying when I last cut off?
Yeah, I think a few moments went by before you actually cut off, so we might have lost a few seconds of what. Just go back maybe 20 seconds before we actually cut off.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
And again, one of the
you were beat up by racist white cops, and take it from
not
there.
by white cops, by white people.
Oh, okay.
People living in the neighborhood who simply objected to a young black man coming into their neighborhood.
Right.
And I was beaten by on a fairly regular basis. Me and my comrades would sometimes team up to fight them off, so we could get to the drugstores that had the comic books and the balsa wood gliders and the like, because we were young and we wanted to buy that stuff, and it was in their neighborhood. The neighborhood particularly was Roseland. I lived in Roseland Heights. It was becoming a middle-class black neighborhood. Roseland was maintaining a mostly white Lithuanian, Italian, Catholic neighborhood, and they didn't like the idea of black kids coming in there, and we regularly got beaten and jumped on. So it was a formative experience in my life, and for me, the lesson was that you don't judge people on the basis of the color of their skin, nor do you stigmatize and properly attack them. I was brought up in a two-parent household. My mother was a teacher. She was a Southern belle, a truly classy woman. My father, I thought, was Superman. I really did. I cannot imagine what I would be without him in my life. I was surrounded by strong images of strong black men who were everywhere, guiding me, admonishing me, encouraging me, and taking me out with my friends who had most of their fathers in their homes. And that is something I would like to stress was an extremely important part of my life. The black male role models that I was surrounded with, especially my father. And he was a World War II combat veteran as well. Also, I went to the United States Army. I got a GED until I could join the Army. I went in the Army. I became a non-commissioned officer at a very young age. I was a buck sergeant. I was a tank commander and an infantry squad leader in Vietnam. When I got out of Vietnam with an Army buddy, we opened up an automobile repair shop, and we hired about 10, 11 people in the neighborhood, and we ran an automobile repair shop. I also stayed in the National Guard. I got called up for the first Gulf War. We went to Germany, but we didn't get sent to Kuwait. But I also got called up for Operation Iraqi Freedom later on in 2003. So I was involved in that as well. So that's 3 wars in one lifetime for me. My civilian job, in addition to being an automobile repairman, was a Illinois State policeman. I worked mainly in Chicago and Cook County, and on the south side of the city. I saw many things that formed my opinions about crime and racism and the lack of it, or the response to it, or however you wish to interpret it. In addition to that, I'm an amateur historian. I love history. It's my favorite topic. I was also on a radio show on WLS AM 890 on a regular basis, speaking on political commentary and cultural events. So, I've had a fairly varied career of life experiences, and it's given me some context to speak about the things that I guess you might want to speak about now. And I can't imagine anybody I'd rather speak to than with you, because while we don't agree on many things, we always have a most enjoyable and entertaining interlocution. So I can't wait to get this thing started, and let's get it on. I believe in this thing above and over everything else. Clarity over agreement. Clarity is more important than is agreement.
Yes. Wow. So listen, I don't have to hold your hand to explain. I have to say you're one of the easiest interviews and easiest conversations, because I don't have to pull teeth to make you say what's in your heart and in your mind. So, just flow. I'm right here with you. I want you to come out rapid fire. You're going for the first round knockout. You don't have to have any kid gloves on. Be you. I detected you're a little polite right now. Don't be polite. Let's get the nasty Sarge. Let's get the gritty Sarge. Let's get the one who throw low blows and elbows and expect that to be back at him, but doesn't mind because you love battle, you love war, you love this thing. Like I said, I believe, no, I can't say I believe because I'm trying to get rid of that word. I know that your influence of your father and your mother, okay, who was a teacher and had to put inside of you a lust for learning, and your father walking strong. And I agree with you. My father, I thought, was Superman. I was walking around at 7 and 8 years old like I had muscles before I had muscles because of him, because the way he walked, and I'm saying it symbolically all around, was the way I thought a man should walk. You see what I mean? And we're lacking that these days. And before we get into everything that's happening today, let me ask you something, Sarge, and I want you to go in on it and don't hold back. What is happening to black men today? We can't even call them black men. A lot of them would rather wear the dress, or rather, a lot of them would rather shun their responsibilities as being black men and punk out. A lot of them don't have any fire, and that's becoming the norm today. Why is that? How is that? How is it happening? What's your explanation and what's your feeling on that? And we'll go right into the other things. Let's get that done first, because you're not old school. You're school. You're the standard of what it should be. There's no age on masculinity. Now they call it what we have, toxic masculinity. You know what I mean? There's something wrong with that. Talk to me as a man who knows a time and roamed the earth when real men roamed the earth up until now, where black masculinity is just illegal, not only in America, but in the world. Talk to me about that.
Man, I am so glad you asked me this question to start the show off with. You might get a little bit of that nasty Sarge you're looking for, but it's going to come a little bit down the road, so just be patient with me, okay? Okay. Look, my admittedly amateur study of anthropology has led me to understand that Homo sapiens sapien, in all of its various modern racial iterations, has existed for roughly 200,000 or so years, according to most anthropologists that I've read. Now, in all of that time, from what I gather, scientists have not been able to discern any substantive genetic changes from that time, 200,000 years ago, to this. We're essentially the same type of human being, genetically, physiologically, in every way that we were 200,000 years ago, no matter where human beings live on the continent. Now, since we talk about what's going on now with regard to men, the way men are being treated or analyzed or understood, and the way we were just 3 generations ago, maybe 4 generations ago, that is an infinitesimal, teeny tiny span of time, considering how long human beings have been alive and been around. So we're talking about a time that, as far as chronologically, is insignificant. But what we've seen is a massive change in cultural regard with masculinity. As you said, this term toxic masculinity is a complete oxymoron and a misnomer. I mean, masculinity cannot be inherently toxic. It is a state of nature. It is a state of being masculine. That's all. It can neither be toxic or untoxic. It just is. Just like femininity. There are individuals who are masculine and toxic as individuals. But it is not possible for masculinity itself to be toxic. It simply is the state of being masculine. So, when we got this in mind, what has changed? What has changed? The significant change is not in the human beings. Like I said, genetically, we have not changed essentially over 200,000 years. What is the change is the culture, and that is cultural expectations that the culture expects of the human beings living within a culture. Now, just yesterday, we commemorated one of the most significant dates in the history of mankind, June 6th. And on June 6, 1944, 76 years ago, the invasion of Normandy occurred. Now, it was expected of that generation that up to 20,000 of them would be dead by nightfall when they hit the beach at dawn on June 6th. It was in order to create a lodgment on the northwest coast of France to defeat Nazi Germany. It was expected of the generations of men at that time, black and white. Now, it may seem somewhat bizarre to say that, fortunately, only 2,000 or so of them were killed in one day on Omaha Beach alone, but the nation and the culture at that time expected that they would in order to fulfill their duty. Now today, let's flash forward to 2020. Here we are living here today in this time. And we were told that we can't be expected to risk going to work to support our families. We were told that was too great a risk to assume because of some disease. And cultural expectations have altered so much over the generations that it's worthwhile to make comparisons to past generations. Now, I don't know, given the fact that we can't expect people to risk a disease of which most of them will not die from, that we can't ask them to go to work because they might get a disease and someone might get sick and die, a relative few, given what we actually know now. I don't know if we can ask that level of sacrifice of those men that went ashore in Normandy 76 years ago. You know, my point is, what do we expect of generations at differing points in time? I think today we have abandoned the minimum in civilization and cultural expectations. We tell many of our black men that they are not expected to marry women they impregnate. That it is unfair to expect them to ask the women that they impregnate to marry them. This is just unfair to ask. When once upon a time, black men married their women and lived with their children, either common law or through legal certificate or whatever, religious ceremonies, whatever, and an 80% rate during the worst of the Depression, during the worst of civil rights discrimination and Jim Crow. But today, that's not fair to expect our men to do. That we can't even expect them not to commit arson, vandalism, destruction, murder. We can't expect that of our men today, our young black men. It's astonishing. I've heard these arguments made that they have to riot, they have to murder, they have to destroy and loot. They have no other choice. They are compelled to by virtue of circumstances of racism and oppression. These are arguments I'm hearing advanced by people who are elected to high public office or variations thereof. It is almost beyond belief the things I'm hearing today. So yeah, I think it's worthwhile to make comparisons as to what culture expects of both ourselves, our children, and the young men in particular, the young men. Because no matter what you say, it is men who build civilizations. Women nurture them, but men build them. I don't care what you hear about the attempt to destroy the patriarchy or remodify the culture or 62 bloody genders. That is an eternal truth that everyone, even in their private thoughts, recognizes as true.
Wow. Let me digest that for a little while. Excellent answer. So now we speak about black men. What about, and we're still going to get into all the other things, but I'm just going through this with a fine-tooth comb incrementally. Black women today, we can't say all, but many. The degradation of the black woman, the disrespect in this Europeanized society on black women and how they're portrayed and how many fall victim to the low expectations. And they say, as they say, a woman can, a nation can go no higher than its woman. And it all comes to the woman. And we must respect and honor our women. Everybody else protects and honors and respects their women, right? But it seems like in this present generation that many of us go along with the degradation of them. What has happened to our black woman? But I also must say to our sisters out here, I applaud you for holding it down. I applaud you for being wise enough to not fall for what's going on, but for those who have been degraded down and accept that is the norm, what has happened?
Well, I'm telling you, Brother Lance, I was blessed and honored to be married for over 30 years to one of the most magnificent women I ever knew in my life. My darling, beloved black wife.
Yes.
She was the love of my life, and she honored me by marrying me. I did not deserve her, but she thought I did, and I got the best of that deal. She was the companion, the love of my, and I cannot imagine my life without her and the children that I had with her. She was a black woman, and like I said, she honored me by agreeing to marry me. She honored me. When I hear people saying they don't want, I remember my mother, who my father was blessed to have. My mother was a gem. She was like a Southern belle, a really classy woman. And it just seems unimaginable to me that a black man would not be willing to honor his woman by asking her to marry him, especially if he's got her pregnant. Now, I realize it's a two-way street. She's got to agree. And if she doesn't agree, there's nothing you can do about it. But you ought to at least make the gesture of requesting it. If she thinking enough of her, if she entices you enough to cause you to impregnate her, it would seem to me that at some point you would think she would be a worthy consideration for marriage. I know how we men are. Yeah, we men are doggish. Let's face it. We are. We often look at women with nothing but lust in our hearts. But at some point, you got to grow up, and you got to realize the purpose of procreation is for the purpose of producing children, not just for pleasure. Pleasure what hooks us into going through the arduous task of raising children. Mm-hmm. Let's not get the cart before the horse.
Right.
That's the reason for it. And like I say, in the black community, that notion has been all but abandoned. It is inconceivable it could happen in the space of 2 to 3 generations. 1965, 70% or more of black children live with both their parents.
Yes.
Flash forward to today, 30% or less in many places live with only one parent, usually a single mother. How did this happen? And I'm going to give you a 2-word answer, and I'll let you go so we can have, back and forth here. But I'm going to tell you what I believe it is. Cultural Marxism. Attempt to destroy the family and replace it with government. And it has largely succeeded in the black community because they used us as a petri dish. But believe me, it also is happening to the white family as well and other families that have been living in this country for the last 50 or 60 years.
What has this created with the breakdown of the black family? Yes, we'll be preaching to the choir, but I just wanted to go on record for those who are hidden and not subscribed to the channel, who come up on the show, listen, but don't want to show their face. Most of them don't look like us. What has this caused behind the breakdown of the black family? And what more can you expect? What is the trajectory if we continue to go on as we are?
Well, if I was to attribute it to anything, I would say it was a confluence of many, many different factors. And it all began in the cauldron of the 60s, the 1960s. You had the confluence of the Vietnam War, the protests revolving around the Vietnam War. Number 2, the civil rights movement. Its nascent beginnings, which to a large extent were co-opted by the more radical philosophical movements in this country. Number 2. Number 3, we got the Vietnam War, the protests around the Vietnam War, the civil rights movement, the radicalism that ensued from all of the cultural and social turmoil, gender determinant identity feminism, homosexual activism, and educational deconstruction.
Wow. That's a lot. I just want to tell everybody that the sound blinked out for like a second, but from what I see, we're back on. Let me just get a sound check. That's not you, Sarge. It's not your fault. It just went out for a second. They pretty much heard everything you have said. It might have been a 2-second blank out or a 1-second blank out. But the sound, how is the sound? Let me know how the sound is. We don't want to miss any of this. I was actually multitasking over here and unplugged something. Does everybody still hear the sound? Let me check my mic on this side and make sure that everything is going on through. Okay. Okay, brother. Okay, hold tight. Let me switch something up over here. And let me check. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. There's a sound back to everybody. Hold tight. Okay, they hear us now. Proceed, my brother. Don't lose any momentum. Yeah, Sarge. Yeah, go ahead, brother. But cut down. If you have a computer in the background, cut down the computer because it's going to give us feedback. All right. Because they're saying they can hear me and they can't hear you. Okay, they can't. Okay, that might be. Let me see. That might be my fault over here. Let me see. Let me hear you, Sarge. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, I believe I got you now. So let me hear it in the, okay, they say the audio is good. All right, brother. Proceed, brother. And keep your mouth near that mic.
For sure.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you to everybody in the chat room.
Okay, what did you want me to speak about? No.
Well, from your timeline, which is slightly longer than mine, and I appreciate that because you remember those times. I came a little bit behind you, but I remember those times too. Maybe it wasn't as good. Yes, we had issues in the black community as related to what was going on in the world. We always had challenges, but within our community, even though we had challenges, we had love, we had unity, and we had a sense of oneness, even if our opinions were different. You know the trajectory longer than I do. The world that you came up in, and it changed, and where it's going. Where will we be in 20 or 30 years if we continue on this path by what you see with the black man, the black woman, and the world in general, how they treat us and how we are? Are we ready for these changes? Are we going to have more problems, more challenges, or what will it take for us to overcome what's going on? And then after that, we're going to get into the meat of the whole thing. But let me know that, brother.
Well, first of all, before I answer your question specifically, I'd like to make a general statement. I think one of the most dishonest, here's what I know I'm likely, I'm not saying I'm guaranteed to, but here's what I think I'm likely to hear in a completely dishonest conversation. When I hear words like, we need to have an honest discussion about race in this country, I know right away, more likely than not, I'm listening to people who do not wish to have an honest discussion about race in this country. They want to have a directed discussion about race in this country in which certain topics are off limits and are not to be broached under any circumstances. There is to be a narrative that is allowed to be discussed and nothing else. Witness what happened just the other day with Drew Brees. Witness it. He gave his personal feelings about the American flag. Now, whether you agree with him or not, those are his feelings. He spoke about his relatives, his grandfather, and his uncles. He was immediately pounced upon by the thought police. He was excoriated. He was all but threatened for expressing his opinion. And it really wasn't even directly about race, but it assumed a racial tinge. You had Malcolm Jennings, a player for the Saints, crying about him being hurt by what Drew Brees said. They wouldn't kneel in disrespect of the flag. How is it possible to have an honest conversation when this sort of thing rears its head? How is it even possible? So first of all, we've got to have honest discussions about what ails the black community. What are the things that are particularly putting upon the black community? And then, who are the people making positive exertions to actually change things for the better within the context of the constitutional republic that exists now? Not some radically transformed, Marxist, hierarchical, top-down driven allocation of resources through some centralized master plan in some new Moscow. I'm talking about the constitutional republic that exists right now, based upon the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the various articles in the Constitution that deal with governance and federalism. How is the black community to prosper and thrive therein? Once we've established that baseline, then I think we can have a discussion about where we're going to go and what we need to do to fix it.
Excellent. 2 questions. And I feel I know my own answer. Religion and politics. Either or, combination of both. But go down the list of these 2 things. Is religion the answer? Is politics the answer? Or looking within the answer in ourselves to manifest our greatness for each other? Is there any value in this day for this game called politics? Is there any value in religion, which doesn't necessarily mean spirituality? But yet we flock to these things and we feel we can vote our way to freedom or pray our way to a salvation that others work hard and plan and build for. Is religion and politics any good for black people? Talk to me.
Well, brother, I think that's a really pertinent question now. First of all, let me say this. The basis of American liberty is religious. Let me say this again so it's clear as a bell. The basis of American liberty is religious freedom. That's why the First Amendment is #1 in the Bill of Rights, along with freedom of speech and freedom of assembly to petition your government for redress of grievances, as the legitimate protesters in the George Floyd situation are doing. Notice I said legitimate protesters, an absolute right to protest the death of George Floyd, and the government need to redress it. That's why it's #1 in the Bill of Rights. So when you talk about religion as a political and constitutional matter, religion is essential to our concept of liberty, because in particular, since most of the framers were Christians, or at least deists. I know they said they were deists, but believe me, you look at the signers of the Declaration of Independence, they were all Christians. They're all Christians. Practically. All of them. One of them was Catholic. All the rest were various forms of Protestant. So given the fact that they were in fact religious, they knew that in Christianity, it's not like with Islam, because Islam means submission. Literally, that's what the word means, Islam. Submission. If you accept Jesus Christ, according to the framers, in my understanding, you accept it via a free will. You take the liberty of your thought and your soul to accept Christianity as your religion. It's not imposed upon you. Our concept of government, we are governed by the consent of the governed. How many times have you heard that phrase? That's where it stems from. The idea of the acceptance voluntarily of Christian precepts and beliefs. Now, I know that the First Amendment makes clear that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion as a formal concept, certainly by the federal government. But that doesn't mean that the United States is not a religious nation. So, if you wish to really believe in what it takes to be an American and what it takes to fix your situations, you must at least conceptually accept the notion of America as a religious nation founded upon, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and amongst these are the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. However imperfectly realized that may be, that is the founding ideal. And the ideal that you strive for is not the actuality. So yes, religion is vital. Religion is vital. We see the fights over religion in the COVID lockdown. I mean, imagine this now. You got all these governors, and particularly these blue states like that Gretchen Whitler, I mean, that fascist woman up there in Michigan, she's saying certain, quote, essential, unquote, businesses can stay open, provided they adhere to certain guidelines. Masks, social distancing, personal protective equipment, and the like. But when it came to churches, even if they adopt the same measures that she says must be done in order to allow them to stay open, here we're going to take an activity that is protected by the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, and we are going to forbid it from being done at all, even if they are in compliance with the regulations. That's why these things are important when you put them in context. You look all this stuff in context. You can understand what tyranny is and what liberty is. Liberty is not freedom. People conflate the two. It's not the same thing. Liberty is freedom from arbitrary and capricious government control. Freedom can be licensed. You know, Lance, like I want to have the freedom to knock you over the head and take your wallet. Well, that's a freedom I shouldn't have. We're talking about the kind of freedoms that are transcendent and in accordance with liberty and a civil society.
Okay.
So, yeah, once we get that done, religion is essential. But to answer your question now that I've done better exposition, religion is essential to our understanding of liberty.
Okay.
So whatever your religion is, exercise it and do it freely.
Right. Okay. So, you know, in the past we had some vicious throwdowns, and we'll just keep it where, you know, because, you know, with me and religion, we don't get along, but I'm more into the spirituality, right? And of course, for people who don't know, you know, we're like Ali and Frazier at an older age, after 20 years of retirement. We're not fighting, but we had our battles. But again,
by the way, so I just want to tell you before you say anything else, I have strongly agnostic tendencies. But it's not, the world doesn't rise and set and Sarge is behind.
Right.
There is a bigger world in my own beliefs.
Right. I understand.
Yeah. So I'm just simply saying that religion is an essential part of our notion of constitutional liberty, whether I believe it or not.
Okay. And you know, to nitpick, I'm going to do a little nitpicking. Christianity, in America, and the treatment that we've received. This is not going to turn into an old style debate, but I got to satisfy those who are here. They may not understand you and my relationship. We have a relationship, we have an understanding, and we do agree to disagree, right? But it tickles me, right? And Christianity, what I know of Christianity in America is what you see recently on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the lynchings, the all of this stuff, while many of these people who called themselves Christians killed us, raped us, marginalized us, did every possible thing to us, and yet they went to church on Sunday and said they're Christians. Are the actions of these Christians representative of the religion? Because if it is, they're basically terrorists. So when you speak religion, do you speak it symbolically? Which, I mean, we're religious and brushing our teeth and wiping our backside. So that's nothing too big to show up to a service and say you're religious with evil in your heart. To me, it's got to go beyond that. And for the black man in America and woman, when I say black man, I mean all of us, wouldn't it be more advantageous to go back to our original way, but not this way that never seems to work for us in the society? Was there anything before, which we know, and I'm just saying it that way, framing it that way, was there something before we came into this that was forced on us that had us living a little better? And wouldn't it be better for us to detach ourselves within, for those who want to stay here, and physically detach ourselves from this place to form a new land, a new way of governing ourselves, a new way of spirituality connected to something higher than us. Because when you look at this person, the European, he's only known for death, domination, and destruction all over the planet Earth. Yet he says he is the hero. Yet he puts himself as the savior. Shouldn't we be going away from religion as opposed to embracing it? And if that is the foundation of this country is doomed, because the religion shows us all throughout time since we've been here how it's going to treat us. So could we extract religion theoretically in your mind and continue on here in this land? Or, as we know, they would definitely reject that because it would show them to the world to be who they really are. Talk to me.
Well, brother, that's a very complex and variegated question you put to me there. Again, I'm an unqualified proponent of religious freedom.
Bring your lips closer to the phone. Bring it closer to the phone, brother.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm an absolute proponent of religious freedom. If black people wish to go back to some African roots or adopt a religious belief of a particular African tribe or tribes, they are free to do so. You have an absolute First Amendment right to do so. But I don't know if that's the answer to this. If it is for the individual involved, fine. Then let them do that. But I would like to point out, as you just said moments ago, it is really an error, more likely not a fallacious error, to make a categorical statement about any group, including Christians. Yes, there were Christians who embraced the hypocrisy of the acceptance of slavery, Jim Crow, racial discrimination, and racial terrorism even, while professing to be Christians. And at the same time, we must also acknowledge forthrightly and completely that there was a strong element to both the abolitionist movement and the civil rights movement of people of all races. And it is clear as the history of slavery, abolition, and civil rights. We well know what Martin Luther King was. He was a Christian minister. He was a Baptist Christian minister. The leader of Wilberforce, William Wilberforce, who led the abolitionist movement in England, was a Christian minister. We know what John Brown was. He was a fanatic religious zealot. Okay? He was nuts, actually, but he was definitely religious. So I'm simply saying that you got the negative side of Christianity willing to countenance racial injustice. Now, on the other hand, you have the positive side of Christianity willing to fight against it. So it's like anything else in life. It's a mixed bag. You have to take it as it comes. You have to view it in context and with perspective. And I think overall, if you're going to ask me in the aggregate, has Christianity been a positive force for racial equality and liberation, or a negative one? And I'm going to come down on the positive side, while acknowledging the negative parts as well.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. I hope your phone. Okay, yeah, go ahead. I
was just waiting for your response. That's all.
Oh no. Yeah. No, I'm gonna let you go on, but I'm saying that for me, when you look at Christianity, and people may say, but let's have a little light sparring session. We're not gonna fight or anything like we used to do. But let's, I don't think
we're going to fight about this at all.
No, it's not a fight. I'm just saying that to be funny, to be comical. It's like this. We both had dinner. Our stomachs are full. So we're just tapping and giving a little exhibition like we used to do back in the day. Right? So,
sure.
Because
it's boring, sir. It's not a fight. It's not a battle. It's
right. And I haven't made it up there yet, but you invited me to your home, and I'm definitely going to be there very soon. And like I say, as a brother, I love you, and I'm not going to let anything from the outside make that stop. Even if we agree to disagree on anything like that, there will be unity here. But when a person who doesn't pay their bills, who doesn't pay their rent, and doesn't pay their mortgage, and is late on many of the bills that they have, has a couple of bankruptcies, a foreclosure or two, and a bad credit report, which is so negative. They may be about 200 pounds, but they weigh more than their credit score. And then they go to the bank, and a person who's standing in line behind them to be seen by one of the associates to find out about a loan says, that guy's a bum. He doesn't pay his bills. He's not worthy of it. And he can say, well, you don't know my business and you don't have anything to do with it. I think I have a shot at getting this loan. And he goes and sits in front of the representative at the bank. And the representative comes out with so much paper. It looks like 5 rolls of towels, paper towels. And it's bleeding and it's red. And they used up all the red ink in the printer. And he comes back with the truth. Sir, your credit worthiness is not enough to get this loan. That's not slander. That's not hearsay. That's fact. So again, when we look at religion and what was allowed to happen under the covering of religion, and for me, when it comes to Martin Luther King, he did what he did. We discovered a lot of things about him after the fact. And we're all human, but we all can know that even he said that he felt bad that he led his people into a burning house. So he had a shift in ideology after all the years of doing what he did. What I'm saying is that religion has done nothing for us. Actually, when we look at the state of how we are now, as opposed to back then, it's even a worse situation overall. So many will point to the Oprah Winfreys. Many will point to the Tyler Perrys. Many will point to the Barack Obamas and say, yes, they made it. But they were basically and are basically puppets in this system that are used and can't really speak out for the ills of their people, or they will be put out, shunned, marginalized, snuffed out, and even killed. I got to throw TD Jakes in there also. There are many people who look good and can point and say you need to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And as many Caucasians will say the same thing, you need to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. But the bottom line is we haven't had any bootstraps on our boots because that same leather was made to make that noose strap. So many of us have had to take our necks from around or in the noose strap to look for the bootstrap that never really existed in the first place. So that being said, where we find ourselves, the gap cannot be closed. Ideology, the paperwork, the politics that say, yes, it's fair. But that's like saying that we're in a race and you go 4 miles ahead of me and it's a 4.5 mile finish line. And I'm so far back from the free labor that we gave, from the free land that they stole. They are in an advantageous position because of their enactment of death, domination, and destruction, but they call themselves Christians. So for those of us who reject Christianity but accept our own spirituality that we've been turned away from and said was evil, those are the very things that we need to get back to, that spirituality that won in the Haitian Revolution. It's that kind of strength and power and connectedness to the true spirit and the true ancestors, as opposed to what this man, after taking us over here on the good ship named Jesus, gave to us. So give me a rebuttal on that, my brother. We're just sparring real light.
Okay. I hear your argument. Yes.
Bring your mouth closer, man. Bring your mouth closer.
I hear your argument. I hope. Let me see. I don't want to mischaracterize what you're saying. I might understand that you believe the solution is a return to a unspecified African religion, because you do realize that out of the phrase came over, there was a multiplicity of religions. It starts saying nothing of dialects of languages. You'd have to decide A, which one you're going to pick. B, how you're going to get people to adhere to it, and then how are you going to relate it to the current situation that you find yourself in. So wouldn't even the selection of such a matter be somewhat arbitrary?
You broke up a little bit, brother. Continue on what you're saying. I'm not trying to not answer your question, but it broke up a little bit. Just repeat that if that's a question.
Yeah, I'm saying that given the multiplicity of African religions that black people came over on, and which the overwhelming majority are utterly disconnected from, wouldn't the selection of any one particular one out of the hundreds that may have been be somewhat arbitrary and capricious?
Well, we should actually have the right to explore and reconnect and refurbish what we had. You know of Memorandum 46, as the government has definitely taken a stance on keeping us apart from those in the motherland. They will not allow it. It is not acceptable to the government. There's a document there that was intercepted from one government agency to the next. Google it, Memorandum 46, that basically says we cannot allow the American black, or the African, as I would prefer to say, who's in America, to connect with those Africans who are in Africa, because they have the resources over there that we want. And if we allow the African here to connect with the African there, the African here will tell them of all the tricks that we have and all the evil that we do. And we're not going to get what we want, which is the resources, because Africa, if that shuts down, the whole world dies because of the resources that the world depends on. So there is an effort to keep us from knowing ourselves. There's an effort to keep us indoctrinated. There's an effort for us to vibrate on a low frequency. And if we do vibrate on a stronger frequency, not necessarily high, but a stronger low vibrational frequency, they can control us as puppets to do their bidding for a few snacks off the table, a few crumbs off the table. But I do want to, you know how we do, and we're going to come back with it. And it was mentioned in the chat room. They said, oh, your guest is bringing a bad energy. No, he's bringing a different perspective that needs to be explored. We need to know how each other thinks, and hopefully we can influence each other in a positive way. Again, we need to embrace each other. Now, when it comes time for war, and I know Sarge is on my side, he has a viciousness that most that I know don't have. And I'd rather have you on my side because I know where you stand and I know you have my back. Now, as far as anybody bringing me a bad energy, I resonate at such a high frequency and such a positive energy. You must know that no bad energy can affect me. But I would not say that Sarge brings a bad energy. He brings a different perspective. He grew up, of course, in a different era than most of us. I'm right behind you, Sarge. I'm technically a senior citizen at 57 years old. So, you know, that is what it is. But we need to have these discussions. I find too many times that the walls between the generations get thicker and thicker in the silence. That we have elders who, they have their way of thinking, but if we talk with them and they talk with us and we try to bridge the gap, it's better for us. Because for us not to talk and have a generational gap and disconnect, it's only to the delight of that one who oppresses us and doesn't want to see us unify. You see what I mean? Because we all have a perspective, and I want to know why. I was always I want to know why kind of guy. If I didn't agree with something, but I want to know why you think this way. I want to know what got you to this point. There may be some good things more than the bad. There may be more commonalities and things that are different. We've got to reconnect. You see, look, you could be a guy who has a car that you drive, and you might have 3 ugly pickup trucks in your yard. And we walk by and say, oh, man, he has 3 ugly pickup trucks in his yard. Look at the rust. The tire's flat on one of them. The windshield is busted. But when the rainstorm comes and you realize that that old pickup truck works, you might want to hop in there and get a ride. Now you appreciate it for what it is. Let's try to appreciate what our elders bring, no matter what the perspective. Let's extract the good and leave what we may call the bad, because we need each other. And we have to understand that we all have gone through trauma in this place. Like Sarge said, when you were younger, you were regularly beat up by white people. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I forgot it. The memories are vivid now as they were then. And I was under 12, and it didn't happen just once. It didn't happen just twice.
Bring your mouth closer.
Yeah, it didn't happen just once. It didn't happen just twice. It happened multiple occasions.
Yeah.
I was hard-headed. And I refused to be kept out of somewhere where I knew I had a right to be.
Exactly.
And I wish that one got to take it lying down. A lot of y'all can't see when I would travel with my family to visit my relatives in the South. I remember seeing the colored and white drinking fountains and restrooms.
Wow.
And rest stops. We had to plan our trip so we could go to a place where they would accept colored people. A lot of your listeners have no idea as to what it was like. None. You go on secondhand information. I experienced this firsthand. That's why I can contextualize it. Because I do know there's a difference between then and now. And back to your question about spirituality. Whatever helps you to harness and employ your inner resources, whatever helps you to get strength by appealing to something, some transcendent force greater than yourself, whatever you call it, you should use. And if it works for you, then you should use it. But at the same time, I say this, whether it's an African religion or an African-centric spirituality or Christianity, whatever works for you is what you should use.
Understood, brother. Understood. Understood. There have been many men and women who have come onto the show who are definitely revolutionaries in their own right. And many of the extreme younger audience would hear the framework, the verbal framework, and how they spoke, and didn't understand what was put into them and what was in them in a very much embedded fashion. They were revolutionaries in their own right. They made changes. They stood up to the oppressor. They stood up to the Klan. They formed unions with people, not just a protest thing, but and of course they have the right to do that. But they got effective in forming these organizations to fight against and unify. But at the end of the day, in their lingo, they may say, you know, thank you, Jesus, for the strength that he put in me. Many people would hear that and totally cut off. What I'm saying is that understand where people are coming from. Understand where they're coming from in their walk, because their lives may have been a whole lot different. And remember, when you're younger, that's when you absorb more and faster than any other time in your life. With that being said, those early bouts with getting beat by white people and seeing those images and all of those things, you have come out ahead of the game more than most who have come out in that era, because you're not even sitting here saying, hey, I'm going to call on Jesus, but you acknowledge those who have a right in the society to pursue religion. You are a fighter. You are a warrior. I know this in our conversations. I love the way you think. You're not waiting for anything in the sky to come drop down to help you when you can do for yourself. We agree on that. You're self-sufficient. So again, I say to everybody who's going to hear this in the future, you know, this is part of our chain, like a relay race when you pass the baton, and we don't know what the race was like way back then and even before back then. So we're affected in different ways, but the fact of the matter is that you had a strong family, strong a father presence in your life, mother and family around you, and other strong black men. It has protected you and brought you through to this day in 2020 as strong as you are. And I'm blessed and I'm happy that you can be here to impart real history as opposed to something watered down that the enemy brings us to serve his needs and purpose to indoctrinate us. So,
yeah.
No, but go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No, I'll wait for you to finish, because there's something I want to bring up that relates to what we just spoke about.
Yes. Go ahead, brother.
Well, you know, I've spoken of the atrocities visited upon my body in the form of fists thrown by white people who hated me simply for the color of my face. Because believe me, my parents taught me how to be polite to everyone, and they insisted upon it, and I would get a hiding if they found out that I wasn't. So I was always polite to white people and anybody else. And so Well, I know I was getting beat upon, and not because I was misbehaving. They just hated me for the color of my skin. But also, I served with white men in Vietnam. Boys, really. 19, 20 years old, 21, boys. You know? And I'm going to tell you something. The black ones, the white ones, we were like a family. We may not have gotten along because you don't always get along with your brothers. You don't always get along with your sisters. You don't always get along with people in your family. You fight with them, and we would fight with each other from time to time. But believe me, we were prepared to die for each other, and we often did. I am alive today because of a young white man from North Carolina named Bobby Hope, who had a rebel flag stitched to his helmet cover, who risked his life to save mine when I got pinned down in an ambush. I would not be alive today were it not for him. And when he saw me get pinned down, nobody told him to do anything. He jumped up and did it on his own to get me out of the situation I was in. I was laying there crapping myself, knowing I was about to die. If it hadn't been for Bobby, I wouldn't be here talking to you right now. That was, I'm not saying he was typical of a white man in Vietnam, but he wasn't that far from him. And believe me, every one of them, the worst thing you could be in another man's eyes there was someone whom you couldn't count on when the chips were down. Even if you didn't like the other guy. Because when the chips were down, it was expected you would do your job and be prepared to risk yourself for the next man. And that's what happened in my platoon and the men that were in my squad, of which I was a squad leader. So everything is contextual. I know all white people are not going to risk their life for me. I don't expect them to. But the ones I was with did. That's why I look at everyone as an individual when I'm dealing with them individually. And you can make some generalizations about people. You can say things like, black people vote for Democrats overwhelmingly. Well, that's the truth. That is a truth. There's no getting around it. But does every black person vote for Democrats? No. Even though the general statement is true, many white people are racist. Is it fair to say most of them are? Probably not. But many people do that. Categorical statements are cheap and easy to do. But frequently, if not always, they are very often wrong.
Okay, you said it. I'm not going to go any more in on that. And I understand completely what you're saying.
And I'm telling you right now, see, I remember I used to live in Chicago. I put my life on the line for the citizens of Illinois and Chicago. Believe me, Illinois was a place where I served as a police officer. I mean, and even though, thank God, I didn't kill anyone as a police officer, I came awfully close to doing it. Thankfully, I didn't have to. But believe me, I fought for my life on several occasions. People tried to disarm me, take my gun, do other things.
Wow.
But, you know, I've since gotten away from that turmoil that I lived in the big city of Chicago. I now moved to a very quiet county in Georgia where black and white people, it was amazing. My wife agreed with me when I asked her this question. Is it just me, or do people here seem to be so friendly, helpful, and civil? I mean, everybody, black people, white people, everybody is civil, courteous, and respectful. I said, yeah, I've seen the same thing. I thought it was just me. Is it you too? Yeah. She agreed with me. People go out of their way to help each other around here. It's almost more than I can accept coming from a city like Chicago. Believe me, it is. I did not expect to find it in the cradle of the Confederacy. I came here for lower taxes, which they are, and less gun control. That's why I came down to Georgia. And I found other things. I found civility, courtesy, helpfulness, and a genuine sense of community. And I'm amazed at how black people and white people get along with each other in this place. So again, categorical statements can get you in trouble. What's true in one place may not be true everywhere else.
Okay, brother. I'll let you state your case always. Okay, I want you to, and I just got note of a prior show that I was going to do that was pushed back, that I'm still going to do. So I'm going to say I'm working with about maybe 20 minutes right now. But in those 20 or 20 minutes, I want you to go in on your perspectives on what's happening in the world today and where it's going. When everybody was celebrating the so-called New Year, and I say the so-called New Year because for many, and myself, I know it's not the real New Year, but what's accepted as a New Year. Right now in June, the world is so completely different. Give me your perspective and what other people would call opinion on the George Floyd situation, the COVID-19 situation, the economy, the rioting, all of that balled up one and related historically if you want. And I'm going to wrap this down in about 20 minutes, and I'm going to have another show that comes on that I had guaranteed to do, every week. And I'm not even going to say, I'm going to let it be a surprise, but I will say at the end of this segment what it's going to be. But let us have it. Let us have it, brother. We're coming up on the 14th round, 15th round. Let's say 15th because that's from back in our days. You put up a hell of a fight. You know that you're edging the opponent, but with the judges and the fact that you're in his hometown, you don't know if you're going to get the decision. But you know you're winning the fight, and you're not winning as usual in dominant fashion. But in your mind and what your trainers and corner tell you, you're winning the fight. But you got to pull this off. You got one more round. Your lungs are burning. Your legs are tired. Your arms are heavy. You're a little dizzy. But you got to pull this out. Knock the opponent out and give us the best of Sarge for the next 15 minutes, and we'll wrap it up. Tell us what's going on, what you see going to happen, and prophesy a little bit on what you see coming through. Get Trump in there, get the government in there, and give us a classic round that would be that round that they show when they give you a highlight reel. Give it to us, brother. 15 minutes.
Man, you really got me rubbery-legged and staggering out of the ring a little bit, okay?
But you're winning already. You got to pull it out.
All right, okay, well, here we go, man. Let's talk about a 1-2 punch.
Let's get ready to
roll. Well, first of all, we had COVID-19, which now has been revealed to be a hollow hoax. There's no other way to put it. The very same people
yes,
that were implicating us
yes,
to obey social distancing. The very same people were telling us to wear our protective equipment. The very same people were telling us we couldn't even go to work to feed our families.
Stick 'em, champ.
The very same people now are telling us that we can go out, riot, loot, destroy, and protest. And it's no problem because we don't have to fear the virus anymore. This is staggering. This is the biggest admission of a policy intended to control us, destroy our economy, make us more vulnerable and susceptible to their control. I'm talking about these blue state governors who did what they did. It is proof positive of the utter fraud they tried to inflict upon us. It's amazing what I'm witnessing right in front of my eyes. The very same people who told me I had the power in my house. And I'm telling you it's more important that I protest something that hasn't even been legally determined yet. Astonishing. And to say nothing of the fact that now we know from the turmoil that this country was put through is actually a 1-2-3 punch. Remember, has everyone gotten a historic event that happened just a few months ago, earlier this year? The impeachment of a president of the United States for the third time in the country's history? It was a big deal. They said he was a Russian agent. They said he was cooperating with Ukraine to interfere with a presidential election. They told us that he was an agent of Putin. And now we know from government documents that the very same people going on the Sunday shows week after week after week Susan Rice, Andrew McCabe, James Comey, James Brennan, Valerie Jarrett, James Cladler, Peter Strzok. Oh, no, not him. But all the rest of them were going on TV telling us they had evidence. Adam Schiff, for God's sake, telling us they had absolute evidence that the President of the United States was a Russian spy and being controlled by them. Now we know from reading government documents from the House Select Committee on Intelligence when they were under oath, not on the Sunday news program where they could lie at will and not have to worry about legal consequences. When they were under oath, they said they saw not a shred of evidence that the things they were lying about was true. So they put the country through an ordeal for years based on a lie and no evidence, doctored evidence, made up evidence, fabricated evidence before a court to get warrants to spy on American citizens and the United States president. It is astonishing, and it's been, never mind, let's just forget about it now. Let's go on to the next big thing. It's staggering. Beyond belief. And people always talk about, cabals and conspiracies and how the law enforcement will frame a man, particularly a black man, if that black man is caught unawares, and they'll make up evidence. Well, now we've got solid evidence that the FBI at the top leadership levels fabricated a criminal case against an honorably serving, highly decorated 3-star general. They deliberately set out to entrap him into a crime. It's clear as a bell. The evidence is there. It's in their own handwriting, their own emails, their own texts, their own 302 records of the interviews. And they put the text to us for years. It's not just theory. It's not conspiracy theory. It's here in evidence. And now we have a judge named Emmett Sullivan who has taken his marching orders from Barack Obama over the internet to keep this thing going, even after the Justice Department went before this man with the General Defense Counsel to drop the charges. He, on his own initiative, has taken it upon himself to be two branches of government, the executive branch and the judicial branch, and to prolong the criminal case, even though just weeks before the Supreme Court ruled that judges can't do what he's doing right now. I can't believe what I'm seeing. And then we got George Floyd, we got that, we got this. I don't know what to say. Yeah, it would, for most countries, it would be a knockout punch. This is a pretty great country. We'll see if we can withstand it. Unreal.
Okay, you blacked out for a second. Keep going, brother. Keep going.
Okay, so in other words, I'm saying that I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people here. I'm surmising. I don't want to say for certain because I can't say. I haven't taken a poll of your listeners. But I suspect many of them look askance at Donald Trump Jr. They don't like him. They'd like to see him out of office. I get it. But believe me, all of this stuff that's going on now is almost a guarantee that he's going to get reelected. Just like it got Richard Nixon elected. This chaos, now, I don't care how many people put in the street, is not representative of American people. They don't like it. They never have. And if you want to get Donald Trump out of office, you got to figure out a way to get these folks calmed down. I mean, you do have a right to, I made it clear at the beginning of the show, you have an absolute First Amendment right to absolutely petition your government for redress of grievances, including police brutality. Absolutely. It's unquestioned. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. You do not have a right to conflate that right to protest and petition your government for redress of grievances with a right to riot, burn, destroy, and murder. They are not the same thing. They cannot be the same thing. And they must never be seen in the same light. So we shall see.
Sarge has spoken. Sarge has spoken. Listen, brother, I'm going to be eventually doing a little local traveling, and we must meet. I would love to get you on the camera, and you could speak into it directly. And maybe the next episode we'll have you appear visually, and I'll show you how the system works. We definitely have to have you come on a regular basis. You have a vast a storehouse of memory, and you have studied a lot, and you've combined it with what you've experienced, and you're a very unique individual. Like I said, we've all had that uncle at the barbecue, at the family barbecue in summertime, that was compelling and outspoken, where some of the family members didn't like him because he was too truthful and he spoke his mind, but never stopped anybody else from speaking theirs. We need more of that. We need more of Sarges in the world, because they will undergird us, even if we do disagree a little bit. No matter what, they're the ones that always get our back. And we got to get back to that. We've been duped into thinking that masculinity is toxic. Not anybody here in the chat room, so I wouldn't say that or put that on anybody. But, you know, in this society, especially when it comes to black manhood, black means toxic anyway. So they're really throwing off on us.
Let me tell you, was one thing I like to say in conclusion.
Yeah, wrap it up, brother. Yeah, give it to us, you know. Yeah.
You know, I've been on several shows around the web, and one person called me a reactionary. Now, the word reactionary comes from the French word réactionnaire, which was first coined during the French Revolution in 1789. Now, there was people who were opposed to the French Revolution. Remember, the French Revolution was characterized by the Great Terror, the guillotine, the purges, the religious prosecutions, the murders, and it led directly to, guess who? One of the greatest dictators in modern European history, Napoleon Bonaparte. That's what the French Revolution wrought. So if you're going to be a reactionary in reacting to corrupt, hideous revolutions, then count me in. I am proud to be a reactionary.
Got it. Got it. You couldn't have said it any better. I have to say that you have, let me pick the right words. You've honed your abilities to a higher level, more so. And I understand you even more so. So that being said, Sarge, I keep forgetting sometime, but we got to have you back because things are happening so fast in your personal timeline of life. It's needed. Your sense of recall goes back a lot farther than mine, and it's a wide scope, so I have to respect it. And I just want to thank you for coming on tonight, and we're going to have you back on again. As a matter of fact, I'm going to write your name down. I'm going to have my little log book. I just bought one now of our family who has to come on a regular basis. You know, sometimes I wake up in the day and I may not have anything scheduled, or I may have something scheduled. But even when I wake up in the morning, I don't even worry about what I'm going to do. I know it's going to flow because this is what I live. And we go back many, many years and spent many, many hours sometimes at each other's necks or even just agreeing on certain points. But the fact of the matter is, you are here. You haven't given up. At your chronological age, you are very strong, and you will outdo many 1/3 your age. And so for that, you're doing something right. So I got to find out and come over there and look in your refrigerator and see what you're eating.
Okay, brother, you know you're welcome anytime. And like I said, man, remember, when you're discussing things with people, you're debating, going back and forth, the most important thing is not agreement, but it is clarity. First, foremost, and always. And with you, I've achieved it. And I really thank you for the honor and the privilege of being here tonight to share these thoughts with your listening audience. I'll be more than happy to come back. It's been great. And, you know, it always is with you, man. You know, we don't always agree, but we're always civil, and that's the beautiful thing.
There you go. There you go. And that makes for a wonderful community. And I couldn't think of a better next door neighbor to have, because I know when I go on vacation, my property is covered. You have a good night, brother. And I'm going to give you a short call tomorrow, and we'll plan on some other things, and we'll make something really nice. And we'll set some things up, because you know you deserve to have your voice out there fairly, because I let everybody talk when they come on. But you're part of the family, and I appreciate you for spending your time and sharing your vast experience with us. And I do know that we've learned a little something, or we're affected in a positive way because of your presence. Much love, brother.
Roger, Wilco, and namaste.
Peace.
Peace. Take care now, brother.
Take care.
Bye.
Remember, we have Dr. Kang coming on shortly. Our next episode, we will have Dr. Kang. Dr. Kang in the episode Ask Dr. Kang. Dr. Kang will be live, and he'll be answering questions, and he's going to flow. We may not get to every single question, but Dr. Kang will be in the house. I just got off the phone with him, and we spoke about it, and he will be here. So in the meantime, I'm going to be getting things together. I'm going to end this episode, but I'm going to come back with another episode with Dr. Kang. If you do not get a notification, come back in 10 to 15 minutes or even more. But we're going to get on quickly with Dr. Kang, because after I answer this call to nature, I'm coming back to set up the episode Ask Dr. Kang. So don't get mad if you didn't understand, because I told you it's real and it's coming. So we're going to do it tonight with Dr. Kang, and he's going to speak on a few specific things. And as you know, he's a powerful speaker. He's a powerful presence. He's unique, and they don't make him like him. When Dr. Kang gets into the room, all the frauds must leave. Anyway, we're going to play a little music, and then I will end this episode, because I can't wait to come back on with Dr. Kang and Sister Isis. We're not going to play all the songs tonight because I got to prepare. So give us about maybe 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Check back. If you still don't see us, just give us a, keep checking back every 2 minutes because all of the notifications don't go out. And we want you all to be here because it's going to be phenomenal. You just have to mention his name and you know it's going to be phenomenal. Just like that restaurant that comes out with a new dish and it's your favorite restaurant for the last 20 years. You know when they say this is something that you're going to love, trust me, it's something that you're going to love. Dr. Kang is going to be in the house. And like I said, we're not going to play all the songs. We'll play all the songs afterward. And then I have something else for you after that and maybe something live after that. We don't know. We're just going to rock it all night and make it happen. But Dr. Kang is in the house and I have to get ready for him. So that being said, let me sign off and we'll be back. And don't forget, LanceScurv. Subscribe, share the links, and just make sure to keep things rolling. We're a growing channel and I have to keep you coming back and serving the good stuff. Peace. See you in a few minutes.